Welcome. Cimaction's tarot readings. All you have to do is, to get a reading, is type !join in the chat. And you get into the queue. Let me see. Queue is open. Anyone noticed how kind of hostile to users all these different services are becoming on the web and apps and things, and how they pop up, password this or that every few days? It's like you wonder where trust this computer, trust it for 30 days, or remember this computer, or and nothing ever does. Nothing ever does. It's always kind of like you're getting popped in things in the face everywhere you go, one thing after another, and then it's all double verification, two-factor verification. And then you're like, I got to get my cell phone and get the code and put it in, and it just keeps happening over and over again, over and over again. And I guess the excuse is that's secure, but it's also incredibly hostile environment. But anyway, I've noticed it. It's been getting worse and worse quite rapidly with almost everything. There's not a single app or service anywhere you can think of. Twitch, YouTube, anything. They're just popping things up right and left in your face. In fact, Google's probably one of the better ones. I've noticed when you log in with Google, it sits there logged in for a while. It takes a lot for it to say, oh, wait, we forgot. We have to be reminded. But anyway, so here's the star card. Now, tarot decks, I like this tarot deck. I'm making my own, though, because I'm fed up with tarot decks overall. I love them in a way and hate them in another, but they have issues with the way they depict people all over the goddamn tarot decks, everywhere you look. And I don't think they should be there, frankly. I don't see why you're trying to draw people in the tarot deck. But anyway, whatever. It just starts to look silly. In fact, poker playing cards, regular playing cards, have probably solved that problem better than most tarot decks, because they've so drastically abstracted the images of the human characters in tarot decks. But anyway, so here I am. I am putting this on the screen because I run a thing called a Red M server, and I've built a lot of stuff in it. And in this server, there is a psychics shop, and we're going to go in there and hang out in there around the table to do real tarot readings. Now, I have multiple ways of doing tarot readings. I can do them with a little app I built that works inside this game in the tarot shop here, or I can do a 3-card reading that way, and it pulls 3 cards out of the deck. Or I can switch over and do this, which is an app I wrote. And it's a nice thing because it's, it's got an introduction I wrote. So basically I wrote a book about tarot, and short book, but it lays out the whole tarot, structure of the deck, meaning of the number cards, just very basic sort of outline for a beginner. Meaning of the 4 suits, wands, creativity, desire, passion, work. Associated element, fire. Pentacles. In the deck I'm building, I refer to the pentacles as coins. I'm tired of all of this woo-woo, 5-point star bullshit, just smeared all over tarot everywhere. They're coins. God damn it, they're coins, right? They're round, and they're associated with material needs, finance, physicality, sensuality, associated element, earth. They're goddamn coins, okay? So there's some pretentious nonsense around tarot, and I kind of went with it because this app that I wrote is based completely on the Tarot de Marseille deck, the old deck, and they call them pentacles. Or, well, no, they don't. They call them deniers in the deck. It's French, so you can see if I can find one. Yeah, King Roy de Deniers. It is the king of coins, really, and so that's why I switched over to using coins. I also don't use the word wands in my tarot deck coming. I use another term. And, but I did stick with cups and swords. Those are fine. Nothing sort of false and pretentious about those words. I think the tarot has been somewhat burdened with some pretension, and I think some of this is attributable to the kind of, there was a lot of nonsense sort of crept in around tarot all along, actually, because way back in Italy in the 1400s, you had aristocrats, very wealthy people, commissioning decks, tarot decks, to be designed, featuring them. And this is where these people in the tarot deck, people, everything is personified in the tarot deck. And it's really because of this. These families in Italy that wanted, because of their egos, they wanted to be on tarot cards. And so they would commission an artist to go and do a tarot deck for them. Oh, you know what? I want to turn something on. Hang on a second. That's my light thing. Okay, so they would commission these decks, and this is where all of this personification really got rolling with tarot. So when they talk about a queen or the empress, they want to show you a lady, right? And a lot of artists tackle this problem. They show you a different kind of lady, but it's always some goddamn lady. Or a king, it's some goddamn dude, wearing this or that robes and blah, 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 and they're sitting in a throne, whatever. And you can get, sneaky and like cool and like edgy with your tarot deck, which a lot of artists do, and go, well, okay, my emperor and my queens, and they're all going to be special different kinds of people. Like the emperor's going to be a used car salesman and standing in a car parking lot, and the empress is going to be, I don't know, a lady working at the bakery or something. And so you do all these different things, but it still comes down to one goddamn major fundamental fucking point, and that is people And when you do people in a tarot deck, you get into problems of culture, race, sexism. You get into real shitty little problems that you can't avoid and you cannot think yourself out of. I'm sorry. Once you start drawing those people in there in the tarot deck, you're making decisions and you get in a jam. And so every tarot deck I look at, I see there's one major jam I see with tarot. Tarot is brutally fucking racist. Always has been. And because, you know, it's all these nice little blonde Jesus fuckers walking around tarot decks. And I'm talking about Rider-Waite. That's one of the worst examples. Now, how you got that from a black artist, I don't fucking know. But she was hired by some real jack-offs in that Golden Dawn. You have to understand, these people were fucked up. You had Aleister Crowley, who, look, the guy may have started off with some sort of sense of amusement with the, you know, the esoteric, witchcrafty sort of thing. But he played the role to a point of psychosis and became just a fucking jackass. And every time I see a picture of this fool, I'm like, what a dipshit. Oh my God. People have to forget this fucking deck. I mean, this Rider-Waite deck. And you get these old ladies, these creeps on tarot forums on Facebook and stuff who are like, if you start talking about the tarot and you refer to some other deck, they're like, that's not tarot. And I got in an argument with some lady on there once who was supposedly a tarot expert. I don't know if she's ever written anything. And when I talk to people on things like, when I get in arguments, I never say what I have or haven't done. I just talk about the point. And so I was talking about, there was some deck somebody was talking about, and she got mad at them and said, that's not a real tarot deck because it changes sort of the way some of the people look, and the only real tarot deck is the one that follows the courtly structure, is the Rider-Waite. And I said, well, I don't know. I think that tarot is a much older thing than the Rider-Waite. The Rider-Waite deck came out, I believe, in 1909. Now, if you're going to sit there and tell people with a straight face that tarot began in 1909, you've got to screw loose, or you can't read something. If you can't read, then that's probably not your fault. But it didn't begin in 1909 with the Rider-Waite. The Rider-Waite was an attempt, and the Rider-Waite was an attempt to do this. The Rider-Waite was an attempt to take cards that look like this in the Tarot de Marseille, the number cards, and avoid having Americans look at that and go, what the fuck is that? So what they did is they said, draw cards for stupid people. Draw cards where you say, it's a picture. And which number is this? I can't even see what I'm looking at. 6, sorry. Draw a 6 of swords with a sword on it. First of all, don't use this fucking abstract symbol for swords. Make it a goddamn sword people are expecting to see. And like in a movie with, knights on horses and stuff, make a sword. And then put the number 6 on it, or put 6 of them on there. But put 6 of those swords and have people doing stuff. And have the people look either morose or real cheerful or angry or just kind of tired. And make all those people, make them white, God damn it. You better. That's what was going on in 1909. Racist fairy tale bullshit. And that's where we get the Rider-Waite tarot deck from. And people like this lady will go down to the last possible breath they have in their body, saying to you that that deck represents tarot in its finest and fullest complete evolution, that it was the logical evolution of corrupt prior tarot decks that never really never got there, and they evolved into this Rider-Waite thing. And I don't know why Epidemic Sound keeps including ASMR. In their ASMR, when you search for tarot music, not tarot music, meditation music, and you get a list and you play it, and that's what you're hearing now, you shouldn't hear... I'm sorry. You just shouldn't hear that. Don't give me ASMR where people like lick their ears and crap. Whatever. Just play. I said tarot music. Not tarot music. I said meditation music. Just play meditation music. So anyway, yeah. These decks, man, they have problems. Tarot has problems. It has problems. You cannot... there's a lot of really kind of weak folk surrounding tarot. They're scared. They're nervous about things. They're sort of stupid, frankly. Look, I'm really big in tarot. I write tarot. I make tarot deck. I make tarot apps. I know my fucking shit. And what I'm saying is that most people dropping in and looking around and dealing with tarot, they're weak motherfuckers. They're just dumb as sticks. Get on Facebook. They people get in there on these tarot groups, okay, which I don't actually use. Every in 6 months, I'll put a comment in there basically to insult somebody's intelligence. Somebody said they post a shot of 3 cards, okay? They photograph their 3 cards on their blanket or something. And they post and they go, is this guy that I am starting to see, is he gay? And I think I posted some comment. The last thing I posted on there was, tarot's not going to help you with this, but IQ possibly will. And you get like one person that like gives you a like laughing out loud thing, but you're just insulting people's intelligence because they're just butt stupid. You're going to go to consult the tarot to ask if somebody's gay? Hey, come on. Just ask the person. You know, it's like, come on, you just, tarot, you're insulting everybody's intelligence when you do that. You're insulting yourself, you're insulting the person reading the cards, you're insulting the tarot itself. The tarot's not there to tell you who's gay, who's this, or who's that, who's going to run you down with a car tomorrow, or who's going to give you $1,000 tomorrow. No, that's not what tarot's doing. Tarot's pictures. It's symbols and pictures on cards, and there's 78 of them. And if you shuffle 78 cards, if you take these and you shuffle this deck of 78 cards, if you take any 78 things, any 78 objects, any 78 this or that, whatever it might be, and you shuffle them, you arrange them in any random way, the math of that is astronomical, to say the least. In other words, the arrangement you get of those 78 cards in the stack after you shuffle has never existed in all of history before. Ever. Because it's so mathematically unlikely. And that's because any 78 things that you sort, that you organize randomly, has a number of possible arrangements that is greater than the number of atoms in our entire galaxy. This is simply no. It's a factorial. It's 78 factorial is how they express this gargantuan number that's unknowable. It's so huge. And so what that means is that if you take these 78 cards and you look at the exact order they are in at this moment, and you were to lay them out on a wall in rows and columns and photograph that all in one picture, that order of cards, it would take a supercomputer running 24 hours a day in a 1,000 of those supercomputers, 1,000,000 of those supercomputers running round the clock. It would take them 1 trillion years to get that arrangement that you just photographed and put on. That's what's so interesting about tarot. And it's interesting about any selection of things that you order, but tarot takes that concept that applies to anything and focuses on it and makes it pictorial and puts it right in front of you and makes it obvious that there's something going on here with this idea of the small number 78 can represent more possible arrangements than could be arrived at in 1 billion lifetimes of effort. And so that opens you up. That opens your mind up to, well, if this arrangement is so unlikely and will never happen again and has never happened before, then there's something special about that for me. And that arrangement underlies the pulling of the... Now, if you pull 3 cards out of a pile of 78, that math is different. There are many fewer possibilities around, although they're quite large, but they're much less than the number of possible arrangements of 78 things entirely. But when you start pulling cards out, that's a whole different mathematical equation. But nonetheless, because of this fantastic astronomical quality of these numbers and arrangements, it lends that sort of brain-opening, mind-opening thing to tarot. Tarot just simply makes you more aware of it, or you have a sense of it, the wonder of this kind of large concept thing. But that and so these random images you're pulling out, they are not meant to say this or that is going to happen to you or won't happen. They're meant to be images and go, here, oh, look at this. I pulled this randomly and I am now open to suggestion because of all of this wonderful, these aspects of tarot that are sort of swirling around it. I am now a little bit more open than I normally would be to thinking about things from odd angles, or thinking about myself, or approaching things from directions that I hadn't maybe been willing to consider before. This is what tarot does. It puts the power of like a really good therapist in a way, or just a really perceptive person. Forget therapy. Perceptive person, or it's a pocket friend, and it can. But it's because you put yourself into that reading, into that tarot, in that moment, and you find things in it that make you go, oh, whoa! I've been thinking about this problem, or I've been thinking in a certain way recently, and now this stupid tarot card comes out. This hand holding a club, and makes me think, oh my gosh, creativity. I have been having an urge to go and make pottery. Or make coffee. Pottery with coffee? inside. So anyway, but that's what tarot does. It opens the perceptive gates. And so when you get some jack off on some tarot stream, even on here on Twitch, telling you what to do, or you know what I mean? Dude, whatever, man. If you're going to listen to somebody telling you what to do, you have big, big problems. You know, that's all. But if you're listening to someone who's talking about how people think through things, impressions, suggestion, maybe you haven't considered this, or maybe you haven't thought of things, maybe try flipping them. That's why the cards are sometimes read upside down, because it's literally a way of saying, hey, flip it, man. Flip the whole problem upside down and look at it from that whole upside down angle. The Hanged Man. Can I find that card real quick in my deck? I gotta search through it. The Hanged Man. Okay. Now, what's funny is I talk about these cards like the Hanged Man, and in my tarot deck, okay, the Hanged Man, here he is. I have a different way of approaching everything in mine. So the Hanged Man, called Le Pendu in the French for the tarot department. See, he's hanging upside down. He's literally hanging upside down. That's the tarot card is basically suggesting here, man, get off your feet. Think about things in a completely different way, because you don't know what the hell you don't know what the hell is going on right now. And if this card comes in upside down, like this, the guy, it's upside down. He looks like he's standing up. He's unwilling to look at things from a new angle. He's resisting the turning everything topsy-turvy, head over heels. See what I mean? That's what tarot's good at. It's good at saying, man, you got to think about things a little differently. It's not good at telling you what the hell is about to happen, or where to spend your money, or who to marry. It doesn't tell you that. Most people who are thinking straight would tell you, if somebody's telling you things like that, be very, very careful. If somebody's telling you where to spend your money, they'd better be a registered CPA, a certified public accountant. If they are not, then you probably have somebody committing a crime. Okay? That should be obvious. But as I said, so many stupid people come to tarot. God bless their little hearts, but they're stupid. And that's the thing about me. If you're stupid, I'm going to tell you. Okay? And that gets me in trouble. But actually, it saves me from trouble. Because if you don't tell stupid people they're stupid, then what you're doing is you're conning them. And if you're conning them, you're a criminal. You're a crook. And you're going to get in trouble eventually. Right? So, you got to call stupid stupid if you're being honest, if you're being straight up, if you're just being regular, you know. And that's the thing about tarot. It's not false. It's a 78 pictures that someone drew. And that's all it is. And you can draw those pictures any way you want. and what those pictures mean to somebody in the sorts of orders they come up in or how they're used. It varies vastly across cultures and different personalities. But you really should not, people should not continue looking at tarot as something predictive. And the reason tarot gets a reputation in some quarters for being sort of associated with evil is because of that. At least in modern times. It used to be because of church this and that, blah, 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 and religious people and their attitudes about, well, if it's not baptized and dropped in water and brought up again and doesn't go to church on Sunday and read the Holy Scripture, it's evil. As you are for involving yourself with those satanic little pictures. That's all bullshit. They're all people just trying to maintain control of some little thing. They probably became a pastor at some point and they got control of all the little ladies down the street and they could have their little buffet dinners once a month and call themselves, elders. This goes on all over the goddamn country. Trust me, I know. Meanwhile, these fuckers are out there having illegitimate children with like second wife. Oh my God. These religious people are, they're just stupid. They're stupid. Okay. But they're going to that just the way a stupid person goes to tarot. It's the same. It's the same horse shit. So when you go to tarot, if that person starts telling you what to do, run. Even if they're on Twitch, get the fuck out of there. But there's a way to use tarot that is encouraging. It's just like talking to or reading a good book or going into a gallery and seeing 3 really great paintings that are somehow related next to each other. Just by accident in a room of the gallery, you walk in, you see 3 paintings by Picasso right next to each other. And you look at one, and then you look at the middle one, and you're like, oh, God. And right there, those 3 images have created a relationship between themselves in your mind that's unique. Same thing with tarot. They're just 3 pictures in a 3-card reading. 3 pictures. Nothing more, nothing less. And a reader talking about them to the questioner. The questioner talking back, very likely. Hi, Ash Befrost. I just looked over to the chat. See, I'm rambling on and on. I'm going on. This is my perspective on tarot. But if you want to join the queue, you just hit, you type, it tells you what to do. ! Join, because there is a queue open. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. Just don't be stupid about tarot because tarot doesn't have to tell you exactly what you should be doing. It just gives you hints and, nice little ideas. I turn the music down a little bit because I sometimes some volume goes. I don't know, but anyway, I have a mixer panel, and it's really good for doing this kind of thing. This is why actually I decided to use it tonight. I decided to stream tonight doing tarot because I have this panel that I got, and I've been doing other things with it. And I was like, I really ought to do that again. It's fun. But is my cue working? I think the cue's working. Let me see something. I'm looking at my cue. Okay, so we're good. I was just worried I was missing something, but it's fine. So anyway, let me go into the psychic shop, okay? So check this out. Now, here's the funny thing. I wrote the tarot app, but I also wrote this. This is a game, and this is my own private server, and I wrote these programs that do what you're about to see, like going in here. Now, I'm inside. This is the psychics. This is the little waiting room, and you go up in here. And now here's like, I guess this is where the psychic sleeps, whatever. But anyway, there's a little place to like read the newspaper before you go in. But then if you want to go in and see, then you come in here, and this is where it all happens. Now, what I'll do is I'll sit down in this chair, and I'll do I'll take. Should I smoke a cigar? No, I'll just sit. Okay, so this is my little spot where I can do the tarot reading. Now I can do the tarot reading. This is something I wrote right here. I have a tarot card app in here. So if I use this, it does a 3-card reading. Pulls up 3 cards, and it does this randomly. So that's the reading. Now, let's look at this reading, 3-card reading. Let's talk about it, and let's take what I've been saying in the last 20 minutes. Let's take it and let's ponder these cards. So we've got the 13th card, and it's reversed. It's upside down. The 13th card has no name. However, most people do refer to this card as the Death card. It scares the living hell out of many people, with good reason. Let's apply it to our thinking today. A death, and you can see who's on that death card. Let's think about it if it were right side up. What is he really doing? He's reaping. He's farming. He's a farmer. He's working a field. Now, there are a bunch of hands and heads in there, but that's a metaphor for things are dying off and changing. Some things are ending, but they go into the ground, and they're turned over into the soil there because it's going to be used. The world can't help but use what dies, okay? So it comes up in another form, and the energy is continued one way or another. So the next season's crop will be better because of what has just died off. And that could be something in the way we think about things. It could be something we've been stuck in lately. Anything. It could apply to you or me in a different way. It could mean, something about a job, or something about a relationship, or something about an art form that we've been doing. A book we've been trying to write, and it could mean that it's time to put away a certain kind of approach because that's done and dead. In fact, it could mean we're killing that off ourselves of our own free will. Now, when it's reversed, it means we're having problems with that concept. We're not willing to face it. We're not willing to let this thing go away. We keep grasping. That's what it could mean. It could mean something a little bit different. If a reader says that to someone, that person could say, well, they have a really good point about that. It's just not entirely everything that I would say about that for myself. That could happen. Now, let's say there are some problems facing up to the loss of something or allowing something to pass. That's something that we can say, okay, we understand maybe that's been an issue, and where could that have been an issue for me? That card is there to sort of remind us that might be something we've got to deal with, our unwillingness to let it go, which is usually about fear. And the death card, 13th card, is perfect for talking about fears. Then it leads us to the next thing this reading is showing us, which is 2 of Wands. And it's not upside down. Now, the 2 is a great number because that's coupling. That's a coming together of forces, of 2 opposites perhaps, or just 2 contributing factors, two people, two things that are going to heavily influence what we do, what we think. And that's coming into play. That means that these forces are gathering. They're strengthening. The potential for accomplishing something is being assembled. And the wands are a very creative, passionate fire sort of symbol. Typically, this is what, and I tend to like that. I tend to go, you know what? There's nothing wrong with thinking of the wands as fire and creative energy. I like it. I like it feels right to me. You know, you can light the wands. They're like torches, maybe, or they're like branches of new trees or old trees. So, you know, it's got that sense about it. So there's this gathering of force that we need to think about after acknowledging that we've been afraid to let something go. And then we've got a reversal, a 9. 9 is a tricky, tough number in the tarot. It's about literally being at the end of your rope and trying to finish something, and all the doubts and worries and problems associated with almost finishing something, almost getting there. The self-doubt, the terror of being finished. Now this 9 is reversed just like the 13th card on the left is. And the cups are the heart. They're all one's feeling. They're one's love for things. One's ability to accept, to receive, to hold and gather and be full of emotion, full of feeling, full of life. That's the cups. And this 9, you know, there's some sense of emotional life, our love for something, perhaps that, you know, we have problems finishing. That's what that card is sort of referring to. We are having problems accepting the fact, or we're afraid, just like we are on the left with the 13th death card, afraid of letting go, letting something die off. Well, we're also afraid of letting something go in the sense that we're about to finish with it. So the center card becomes very important because it leaps out at you and says, in the middle of all this fear and doubt about being able to accomplish something, about being able to let go of things and move on, this creative, energetic, fiery 2 leaps out and basically says, well, this looks like you might want to consider the options of a gathering of forces. There's some other element And by element, I mean person or approach or thing. There's some other thing or person that you want to bring yourself closer to and maybe work together with. And that will go a long way toward reorganizing your brain and maybe changing your feelings about all your fear of letting go and finishing. That's what I'm getting out of this 3-card reading. And this is just, obviously it was not a reading for any particular person. This was a reading for our sort of moment here. The moment in time, so to speak. What to think about. Like coupling, a bringing together of two possibly conflicting things, or not. Or it could be someone or something you've been interested in talking to for a long time, and the card is there to basically allow you to say, oh my gosh, I should really call Anne tomorrow afternoon and say, hey, what's going on? Let's grab some coffee. I want to talk to you about some ideas I have had. And maybe we can work on them together. Or I just want to get your perspective on this book that's been confusing me. Whatever. That's what that 2 is. And it's centered around kind of your ability to want things and desire and want to create, or your passion for things. And it will boost that passion. Basically, it's saying, let that passion start working with others and start expressing it and get ready for more activity. And it'll let these fears on the right and left drop away. So this is how I use the tarot. Not going to use the tarot to say, you should definitely call Anne tomorrow because she has a check for you. Right? That's not what I'm going to do. And I've seen people talk like that about tarot. They usually have a lot of logos in the background. They have a phone number on the screen. And they have a desk with a bunch of shit on it. And, they're... Well, I don't know. I don't have a phone number anywhere here, do I? I don't do that. But, that's what you see. And they usually use the word somewhere in there, psychic hotline. Whatever. Oh, it's funny. Every time I would drive home, there's a road I'd come up, and there's like two big avenues like intersect, and there's a light there, and above there's like a train, elevated train thing that goes across. So it's all very like busy and trafficy and stuff. There's gas stations and there's like businesses and buildings, but then there's a few little houses like along this big street, and one of them is this one level ranch style house, and it's a psychic's place, and they always have had like a sign out front saying, tarot readings, palm, and you can see like a little neon thing in the window. And there was always like a couple expensive cars parked out there and in front of the house. And you could never really see in, but they gave little hints. Like there was like some cool lights, like, my red light in the background here. There was like a light like that in the back through the lacy like curtain or something. And I always would look at that and go, God, what an interesting idea. What an interesting, I never went in there because frankly, I'm embarrassed. It's so stupid. I read tarot. I'm doing tarot on here, and I would be embarrassed to go into a psychic. And the reason is because I think most of them are stupid. But anyway, or no, they're not stupid. Actually, they're the smart ones. Most of them are crooks. Come on, man. They're crooks. And the people that go in there are stupid. But you know, I would always sort of like sitting at that red light, looking over at that place, wondering what goes on inside. Now look at this little scene here that I have. I would bet that the scene inside was a modern equivalent, somewhat similar to this. And I got to tell you, I kind of like it. I like this little scene. I set this up in here so that people in this game can come in and use this tarot app right here. Here's another reading. In a nice little environment like this. And I just like it. I'm also really modern in many ways. I'm like modern. I'm all down with like supercomputers and Apple stuff and, you know, but I also like this stuff. But anyway, it's probably the same in that psychic shop. But anyway, a few weeks ago, I drove past and it was closed and all fenced off. And like they're getting ready to tear the houses down, obviously in that area, to build a big building, because that's what that area is. These little houses were like remnants of the past. But anyway, so this psychic is gone. Shut them down, gone, all fenced off. All the little, the little sign's still there, like psychic in whatever, but it's still there. But the place is like boarded up now, which is kind of sad in a way, because I was like, oh God damn, the crooks are gone. So, hey Nikki, hi. Anyway, I'm talking about tarot readers like they're goddamn crooks. But, you know, I mean, you know, the fact is there are good tarot readers. The thing is, good tarot readers are good tarot readers. There are good and bad at everything. Every pursuit has good practitioners and crappy practitioners. And crappy practitioners of tarot are quite good at telling people, making people think that tarot reader knows something about them. They don't. There are perceptive people that when you walk into their environment can ask you a few questions or say a few things to you and very quickly ascertain certain things about you. But that's called being a detective. It's not called being a psychic, okay? So being very perceptive is fine. It's how you use that perception. If you're using it to try to, you know, put something over on someone, unless you're in a good TV show about con artists, that's not a good use. It's, you know, so the tarot has to be used for helpful purposes that don't scare people away or promise people things or make people think that you know things about them that nobody else does, or that you're the one, because you're not. If you want somebody to think you're the one, that means you want at some point to have some control over them. And that's not good. So tarot is art. It's art. It's not a predictive science. It's art. It should be enjoyable. It should be entertaining and playful. It can be used to be mysterious, but there's got to be a sense of fun in it. A sense of, you don't want to terrify someone and say, oh, this is bad. Listen to me now. Listen. This card, I'm sorry. I don't know how to break this to you, but this relationship you're in, listen, honey. How long has this been going on? Maybe, I'm sorry, this card here, it's telling you to forget this person. The best thing you could do right now is get out of this. Really, this isn't going to turn out well. You got to get out of this. Really? Tarot card told you that? Really? Tells you to leave someone? Sure, if somebody walks in and says, I've been in a relationship for 6 months and the guy every single night has dumped an entire bowl of salad over my head and I can't stand olive oil in my hair. Well, sure, your best friend might say, what? Get the hell out. Of course. But that is different than you going in to a psychic or a tarot reader and saying, is my boyfriend cheating on me? Basically, I would say, yeah. Oh, did I say that before I picked up the cards? Oh, sorry. Oops. But yeah. If you have to ask, then they are. So, but another tarot reader would say, let me consult the cards. Well, the card says, no, you're fine. Nope. He loves you like the day he first met you and fell over backwards with a lightning bolt through his brain. He loves you exactly as much. Don't worry about anything. Now get out of here. Go have fun. Okay, so I wouldn't take that tarot reader seriously. I'd be like, okay, did you just charge me, I don't know, $75, $150 for that? That's fine, because I agreed, no refunds. Here's your money. But man, you are not a tarot reader. You're just a jerk with 78 pieces of paper in your hand. So anyway, whatever. See, look at that crystal ball there. Oh, look at what's on see, he's got the tarot cards on the table. See that? 2 tarot cards right there. Isn't that cool? My little environment for tarot reading. Of course, there's a skull there. That's to scare you all. But so the general use of tarot, I think, is it's an artistic, creative act, which means it can be very tiring. There are people that do tarot readings, and some of them do them online, and you can just hear them reading. You can tell they don't show themselves sometimes, but you can hear them, they go like this. You can hear the voice. It sort of goes like, the 2 of Cups represents a coupling of forces and you can tell that they're reading it out of one of their guidebooks, which I guess when you're learning is okay. What else are you going to do? You read these books to get some basic idea of where you stand in this tarot thing that you're like, what the hell? How do I even get started? How am I going to remember all this shit about 78 of these fucking things? And so you start with a book. And yeah, you do the reading, and then you're like, for your friend maybe, and then you're like, oh, let me look over here. The book says, oh, yeah. Oh, it says that oh my God, it says you're going to marry this guy. But that's where people start, and it's fun, especially if you're a kid, man. That's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fun. It's all in your attitude and how you use it. Are you being honest about it? Are you expressing something honest? Period. No more complicated than that. God damn, hang on. My ear itches inside here. But anyway, so let's pop out another reading. Oh, Lordy. Well, this is good. We got cups, we got pentacles or coins, and we got the star card. L'étoile in français. Hang on a second. I'm actually looking at Twitch real quick. Hold on a second. Yeah, there it is. Okay. I just wanted anyway, whatever. So I like to make sure everything is okay on Twitch every now and then. But the cup. The cup is upside down. That's the ace of cups. So we've got the hearts and feeling on the left. We've got physicality and money in the middle. And we've got a major arcana star card on the right. So we got feeling on the left, or in the recent past, let's say. We've got a lot of feeling and trying to know what we feel. The ace is kind of like potentiality. It's the sudden dawning awareness that we have all this capability in something, or all this power in something, or enormous feeling, enormous reservoirs of emotion. And that cup is there upside down. So we're kind of shutting it down. We're having trouble getting to it, getting into what the hell do I feel about this shit? What do I feel about this? I'm so lost and shut down. For some reason, I'm just like drawing a blank. I can't even like get upset when this, whatever it is, happens anymore. I'm not crying. I'm not laughing. I don't even know what I'm feeling. I'm so out of touch. What the hell? Why? Why is that? Why am I shut down? What does this apply to? What is it I'm shut down about? Where can I apply this upside down cup card that I see here? Where in my life can I apply it? Well, recently for myself, I applied it to a project I hadn't worked on in a long time that I had let slide, drift back out of touch. And then I was like, you know what? Why don't I just see if I can remember what I was doing? And I picked it up and boom, 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 boom. Within a couple hours, I was like, bam, 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 working it again. But I had to make this effort to pick it back up and say, what is wrong with me? Why did I completely ignore that for 2 years and just let it languish? I couldn't even, and then I was like, oh, I used to really, as I started working on it, I really enjoy this. What the hell made me shut down about it? That's what that upside down cup is all about. Not even being aware of your own feelings, not even being able to get into them, not being able to see them or feel them like you used to. They just like, they're dead for some reason. That's what that card's doing. And then in the middle, you've got these two coins. And now they do this with the coins. They put this, what do they call that? A rebus, or that symbol for infinity, or an 8 symbol. and there it is coming together. So it's the idea, the birth of something, infinite possibility from the joining of two forces. I was talking about earlier in our prior reading about the joining of two forces. And in that case, it was the Two of Wands. And here we have it in coins. This putting together of different things. Maybe it's bringing yourself to a new possibility, financially, work, thinking about a new person in a physical way, or a new home. It's all this kind of things in the coins. Financial, very, very fundamental to coins, obviously. And so what have I, by not being able to access my feelings lately about something, not understanding where those feelings went, what can I look at physically that I need to sort of reconnect with? Like for me with the project, I had to get technically into something that I hadn't been doing for 2 years, go back into it, a work sort of environment, digital, and get back involved with it and pick it up again quickly and learn it again, sort of refresh get my brain synapses going, oh, right, I remember that. And quickly firing them back up. Well, that's what this card could be suggesting. Like, get back to something that you know or that you can grab hold of and use and bring it in and bring it closer, and that will present unknown possibilities. Give it a try, give it a shot, get ready. That's what that card is saying. But it's in the physical, financial sort of stuff realm. Coins are the solid, earthy, stony, metallic things that you need to get stuff done, to get somewhere, to survive. That's what that is. And the two is like, let's come together and work together and make something, make a third thing, give birth to something. And then that leads us from that kind of approach and awareness, that leads us to the star, which is a fundamental aspect of personality. It's a big card. And the star, a lot of people look at this card and I think they it's kind of a vague card. You got a naked lady by a puddle of water or a river maybe, but it looks more like a little pond. Who knows what goes on in perspective behind her midsection there. But she's pouring water, 2 vases back into the river. There's something sort of about sharing here, which is fine. But then there's this big star up over her head and the little ones, which is great and everything. But what's a star good for? Well, first of all, a star is a sun. So the sun card is really a star card. Star card is really a sun card. Sun gives life, it also kills, but it gives things the ability to grow and life to exist. Okay? Stars do that somewhere else, farther away. But what do they do for us? They're guidance. Stars are guidance. Stars are direction. They have uses. Now, I view them as guidance. They're their own. We see symbols in stars also. but we use them for navigational purposes. And we always have. They're very good for that. And so a naked lady pouring shit into a river, really kind of a weak, stupid image. I'm sorry. But she's not using the fucking star there at all. She's not pouring water. The star has not given her any fucking water, although it could be that asteroids did bring a certain amount of H2O to Earth during its formation. Fine. But they certainly didn't know that then when this was made. And so I don't know, this sharing thing, this pouring water in the thing and bringing, like this naked lady's bringing water to the river, which doesn't even need her fucking water because it already had it. And I just don't know. I don't know about this card. What I do know is it's a star card. And a star is about guidance. It's about direction. It's about light in the dark. It's about seeing your way towards something. And yes, sharing in the sense that, you know, you guide, you protect, you lead people somewhere. That's a sharing. That's a communal thing for the benefit of others. It doesn't. Stars aren't there just to guide you. They're there as guidance in general for all of us. It's a great thing to look up at the stars at night from a place far outside a city and lie on your back and look up and see them, because you get a really kind of scary feeling. It's a big, big place that you can actually see from here. And you can see an enormous amount. It's like looking, you're looking into a vast, vast space that is beyond comprehension. And so that and all by itself is there in the star card. That sense of incomprehensible vastness of existence. That's what the star is really telling you. It's, you know, and it could be that the naked lady pouring things is the sense of actually creation, of earth, of life having been created. And there you do see some sprouts, some trees, a bird growing in the background out of desert. So yes, life comes from the stars. In that sense, I'm seeing that perhaps some of my comments about the star art have been somewhat short-sighted. Life comes from this vast unknown, way out there with these points of light. And yes, life has come that far, has come from there somehow, and is here now and has been poured onto this planet from somewhere. And that gives us a sense of wonder. And so we can sense from that card that we have to keep in mind that we're going places that maybe we can now see our way to something that is incredibly creative and productive and beneficial, and find our way there by this starlight guidance, by this North Star, whatever, however you want to think about the stars, the pole star, whatever. But that's there in this reading. So we have this inability to feel and find access to our heart and what we actually want, leading us to saying, wait a minute, I need to grab on to something that I hadn't thought of before, another angle here, another way of working, another opportunity has presented itself. I need to seize that with this 2 of coins in the middle. And then from there, I have this possibility of incredible achievement and life-giving energy. And if I can see my way now, I can see a way through all of this doubt and inability to feel or find what I love been unable to find the thing I actually love to do, maybe. And now I can see the way because I've allowed another opportunity to come in. And I've taken hold of it. And so there you have a tarot reading that ends in the star with this incredible, life-giving, guided sense. It's funny how you can hear the voices from the game. People running around outside the little shop here. It's so funny. My character here, his name is Ransom Bash. He's from the South. He's from Mississippi, but he kind of talks like this, and he's like he's one of those guys who he's pretty down to earth. But he went up north from the South because he couldn't stand what was happening down there back in those days, And he got out of there and he went up north. And then he came out in the west, and he's running around now in this area called Ripwater County. And this is the town. This is a city of Saint Denis, which is based on New Orleans. And he came down here, and he looks more like he's visiting the psychic. He doesn't look like he is one, but right now he is. And I'm just talking kind of like the way he talks now. Anyway, so he says, "How you doing, ma'am? I suppose that is not outside the realm of possibility. I will go have a look at this, ma'am, and let you know what I find out. And, any old time you want a tarot reading, you just come on my way, and we'll see what we can do." So, but yeah, so look at that. Look at the little lights up there. Look at that. See that? It's really cool. See that up there? Yeah. That's a nice scene for a tarot reading on Twitch. I think I might use that. Right? Oh, here's the thing about coming back to stuff. So I used to do these cool tarot things in VR, and I had a temple set up in AltSpace VR. You go in there. It's a social. Well, they closed it. They closed it in March. It was bought by Microsoft. It was a really great thing. And you could go in there in your VR headset, or not. You could just go in there on your screen, either way, and go around in people's worlds that they would build these things. And I held events, tarot reading events. I had a big screen in my world, and people could look up, and I showed actually a 3-card app, just like this. And it would show, it was this app. It's the same app. But I'm pulling the app into this scenario now. But in that case, I was pulling it into that VR world and showing it on a big screen. And then I would be able to give people in the tarot temple the readings. And you would get a lot of people coming in. So sometimes I have like 25, 30 people in VR all gathered around, and they would be all waiting. They had a queue, and they could click a button and get in, and then I would take them one by one and give readings. And it was really fun. And then Microsoft closed the whole damn thing down because they really didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know how to make it better and better and keep improving it. It just kind of languished. And I think they only had a handful of people working on maintaining it, and it started to show. And then they were like, well, it's not making enough money, and they just closed it, which is really terrible. It seems like, I remember AltSpace VR started as an independent company, I guess about 10 years ago. And they were like one of the first VR social networks. And then they failed. But instead of going away, Microsoft jumped in and bought them. And as these corporations always do, Microsoft thought, we could use this, we could build on it, whatever. But then they get it, they buy the little company, they got a little squad of people there, and then they don't give it what it needs, which isn't necessarily money. It's people. It needs talent and skills to be applied day in and day out on the actual thing, constantly building and improving. And they didn't do that. You could tell they only had like 3 people working on it. And, but I loved using it. It was great. And I would do these cool tarot events. And now it's gone, although I still have my temple model. I could use it in another way. And there's VR chat, which is another social network, but to learn how another one works all over again, it's like, oh God. I guess I could. And then do tarot events in VR chat. It's all what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. So basically, if I sit down and say, I'm going to do VR chat, it'll take me a week. I'll get it. Something will go up. I'll be able to have an event in VR chat, which is great and everything. But then I was like, well, I can do it here. I can do this, excuse me. But I used to do those events, and they were great. And I have some of them are on my YouTube as the videos are there. So it's just really interesting the way VR can be used. But, you'd get in VR 9 out of 10 people really enthusiastic and very, very, it's amazing how not stupid people are who are interested in tarot. And they come in and they're like, ask questions and stuff. And they are really sort of full of admiration and wonder for how it works and how it makes them think about things differently. And they really see that. They can grasp that very quickly. But then one guy I remember came in, and I saw his avatar hanging around, and then he got himself in the queue, and he was like 3 names down. And so I was doing some readings for people. Hang on. And there were some women there asking some questions. And we were all having a really great time. And these women were enjoying the hell out of the readings. And not only were they enjoying the readings, but they were going back and forth. They were exchanging ideas with me. So it was not a reading. It was a reading, but then it was followed by a long back and forth conversation. And they had their own ideas, and then they would ask me this or tell me that. And it was very, very good and back and forth, really productive conversation. Really fun and engaging. And then this guy's turn came up in the queue. And I was like, hi, how are you doing? And he was like, hi, you're not going to like this. You're going to kick me out. And I was like, I'm not going to kick you out. What am I not going to like? And he said, well, what you're doing here is horse shit. And these other women, they're all there. They're avatars. They're all right there listening. And I was like, how so? And he said, well, you're totally taking advantage of people when they're maybe like really desperate or at their worst, and they're really they're really like they can be victimized very easily, and you're just taking advantage of them, and it's just so false and irresponsible. And I was like, I'm sorry, what struck you about that conversation we just had for the past 20 minutes as irresponsible or taking advantage of someone? Did it not look like we were all having a good time to you? Was there something that looked somehow, inappropriate about that conversation? And he was like, "Well, you're representing yourself as a tarot reader, and you're looking at these stupid images, and you're telling them." And I said, "I'm not telling them anything. You stood here, you listened. Did you see me or hear me tell anyone to do anything?" And he went, "Well, but that's not the point." I was like, "No, that is your point." What else is your point? And he was like, "Well, you're using these images that are just pictures." And I said, "Yeah, that's right. They're just pictures. Nobody says anything other than that." And he was like, "Well, then why are you using them to tell people things? Because you can't do that. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, these people are like they can be victimized. They're like they're like emotional." And I was like, "Does anybody here seem in any way negatively affected by anything?" And all the women were like, "Well, we're having a lot of fun. What's wrong with you, mister?" And he's like, "Well, I just think that these people that do this are just like horrible." And they were like, "Well, he didn't say anything horrible to us." and I was like, I look, I don't know what you heard when you were lit, but it seems to me that you came in here with a plan and you didn't care what you saw or heard. You just wanted to execute that plan about what you wanted to say, come hell or high water, didn't you? That's why you're here. You came in with something to say, and you're going to say it regardless of what you see actually happening. And he just kept going with the same repetition. "But you're taking advantage of people. These people don't know any better." And I was like, do they sound unintelligent to you? Do they sound like people who don't know any better? Don't they sound like adults having a conversation? Don't they sound like maybe they have advanced degrees? They do to me. In fact, one of them was talking about her advanced degree. You're the only one we don't understand anything about. You're the one having an issue. And everybody there was like, "Yeah, why can't we just have fun? We're doing a tarot reading. What's wrong with you?" And I was just like, "Look." Oh, and then somebody else said, "Just kick him out." And I said, "No, I'm not going to kick this guy out because, look, I got to say, I'm actually having fun going back and forth with him. There's nothing wrong with handling, even if they're sort of pre-staged." This guy sounded like he had his little speech he wanted to deliver, and he would have done it to anyone doing anything with tarot in any way. And he was just doing it. And so I let him stay. And in fact, this went on for like another half hour. And I actually had to go. I had to end it and leave. So I said, "Hey, everybody," because all the ladies were still there. Everybody was all there. And I said, "Okay, you guys," I said, "I'm sorry. I have to leave because I've got to actually get in my car. But the Tarot Temple it's not going to close. It's just stay here and just continue arguing." As long as you like. And so I said, "Bye, everybody. I'll come back tomorrow," whatever. And they just, and then, so I left, but I could still see the screen as I was like closing down things, They stayed. And he was still arguing with these women back about how dumb it all was and how they should know better and whatever. So in fact, this guy was telling them what to do. So it was actually very entertaining. And the reason it was entertaining is because the guy with his kind of preconceived remarks. He wasn't being overly aggressive. You know what I mean? He was trying to. He had an edge to how he was expressing himself of irritation, but it struck me as he didn't understand that 78 pictures on cards can be used in many different ways by different people. It's just like you can use a pad of paper and a pencil to write a poem or a ransom note, right? So there you go. God, I'm talking, and all talking does is make me thirsty. Damn. I hope nobody's having trouble. I see a couple comments have popped in here. I don't see any queue entries. Let me try something. Yeah, it works. I just put myself in the queue. Well, I'm going to give myself a reading. Okay, so let me take it. Okay, there we go. The reason I'm fumbling around with it is I just put that in just today. That little there's a thing on Twitch. Anybody who uses Twitch more than I do probably knows this. You can set up a bot thing, and it creates a queue for people to say, I want a reading, and it puts them in order of when they registered. So you know which order of people to take. But I've just started this tonight. So, of course, I mean, who's going to come in here for a reading? Last time I did this was a couple of years ago, and I would get people in here, a few. But the reason I told that Altspace VR story is because people really enjoy this, and I could tell that in Altspace VR because they would get wind. They had a thing where you could say, I'm having an event, and it's going to start on Wednesday at 7 p.m., and it's called, Cimaxion's Tarot Readings and Live Tarot. Come one, come all. And it would go up on their board in the Altspace place and on their website as in this schedule of events. And so people would come in and they would see this and they would go, oh, my God, there's tarot. Wow, that's unusual. Apparently it was very unusual in Altspace. I think I was one of like one or two. And because, setting stuff up in Altspace requires some technical knowledge. You have to spend some time figuring out how to build the world. And I think a lot of people doing tarot are not interested in that, and they don't do it. So I was like, this is a huge missed opportunity. And but in Altspace, people would come in, and I would have sometimes more than 30 people all milling around this tarot temple I created and asking for readings. And I would be able to do maybe, in a night, I would spend, like 2.5 hours doing this. And sometimes reading, like with those women, some of the readings would go on for like half an hour, depending on if there's a little group and things get into a big, interesting conversation. But it was really great. And so I probably should do it again in VR chat, because I think people notice those things and go, whoa, we've never seen that before in VR. Let's go. But Well, and to be honest, how many people in the tarot thing? Look, tarot on Twitch here, very limited audience, man. And that's bothering me about Twitch, because what I think Twitch is kind of nice to use. It's got a simple, well, when it is simple. But I almost think YouTube might be a better place to push a stream for tarot than Twitch, because Twitch still is so game oriented. And here I am, I've got a game on screen with an environment I build, but I'm using it for tarot readings in the tarot category. And I noticed that there's, like tonight earlier, there were only like 130 total viewers in tarot, which when it's a game category on Twitch, if there's 130, that game is dead and gone. So it means nobody cares about tarot on Twitch, just a very few handful of people. But I think maybe on YouTube, it might have a broader reach because YouTube isn't so game focused. Is my light? Damn, it's still... I hate to admit this. That back there in my room here, I really hate to admit this is really not acceptable. It's a lightsaber. It's a lightsaber from Star Wars. I have no idea what's wrong with me, but I put that up there because it makes a cool... It's just a cool lamp. That's a lightsaber. There you go. Star Wars, from Western to Star Wars. Star Wars actually is a Western anyway, so whatever. I just like this little room. It's not perfect, but there's something about it being not quite perfect that I kind of like. Like, why is that curtain there going all the way across? Like, why is that? Shouldn't there just be a wall there? Why is there a curtain there? Anyway. And that looks sort of like a little stage. Anyway. Well, I think this might be a good, this may have been a nice little introduction to getting things rolling with tarot. I'm going to save this to YouTube because it is sort of an intro to a live tarot reading approach. Oh, whoa. Well, what is this? That's 3 major arcana cards straight up in a row, 1 reversed. Strength, Judgment, Devil. Wow. I'm trying to formulate just the simplest top of my head impression. I can do it. I know what to do. I just have to really listen and follow. I just have to let what I know I can do take over. I can handle it if I just follow through and I don't worry about things and how it'll turn out. And I don't let some typical old way of doubt and fear from holding me back. That's sort of what I get. Blake Carre. Blake Picara. Sorry, I got it wrong. Blake Picara. Hang on a second. Okay, Blake Picara, you are next and can ask a question of this crazy, kooky tarot cowboy who sits here pondering his own fate. Hello. Go ahead. I'm looking over at chat so I can jump on your question. Well, will the person you are interested in contact you soon? All right, well, we're going to talk about what the tarot can tell you or suggest to you. The tarot is going to look at the issue through your own eyes. It's going to suggest things that you ponder, like our tarot cowboy sits pondering his own fate, that you think of, new ways for you to consider this budding relationship. This person you're interested in, and I know, we're all experts in this because everybody's had this. Everybody's had in their past all these, being interested in someone and wanting to be closer to someone, and you don't want to look foolish. You don't want to look too interested. You don't want to fall on your face. You don't want to like put your foot out there like, I'm really interested in you, and they're not. All those, we all have that. That is like universal. And so the cards kind of give you a sense when they come up here in a second, when we bring the reading up, of how to approach this generally, like how to think about it maybe a little differently. So let's just go in and say, now these cards that are going to come up random. All right. We've got King of Wands on the left, and we're looking at these three cards in the sense that the card on the left is something that you can say, okay, I've been there. I understand that. I can accept that about myself. I've got that. I can rely on that. The card in the middle is something to focus on right away. And the card on the right is something to say, look, I need to move toward that. So let's look at the left, which is sort of like a little bit behind us or sort of established already. And the wand, this is a creative, and it's the king. It's the king. This is a court card. This is a more sort of dominant factor that's going to play itself out a little bit longer. And it might last a few weeks, you know? But this king is very capable and assured in the sense of understanding his desires and wants. So your feelings about someone, your interest in someone, and your doubts and wondering about whether they're going to contact you. Your feelings, you can trust your feelings because this card is saying, have that trust in your feelings because you know a lot about how to handle this kind of interest in someone, this figuring out of a way to express your interest. You have done this before, and you have an innate capability and sense of control and balance in how you express yourself. That's what these kings represent, the royalty of the court cards in the tarot. They represent a stability, balance, trust, authority, a kind of a assured, self-confident approach. That's what this king is doing. Look, he's got his hand sort of on his leg there. He's holding the wand. He's kind of like looking off. He's kind of got an expression of kind of like he's not too worried about anything. Well, that's what this card is suggesting. Your passion, your interest, your desire for a person. It's good, it's strong, it's self-assured, you understand it, you know what your feelings are, you can rely on them and trust yourself with them. That's what that card is suggesting to you. Have confidence, be this assured character who never goes too far. He has the capability of being very forceful and energetic, but a good king is always rules not by actually swinging the club unless they absolutely have to, but it's the capability of having the strength to do so. But a good king can find a way not to do anything in extreme. They head trouble off at the pass. So remember that about yourself. If it comes to making an expression of interest and that worries you, the king image suggests, don't worry so much because you understand how to do it correctly within the proper bounds and with so much self-confidence that you really can't be resisted in many ways because of this self-confidence that is perhaps not something you're always aware of, but it's there. The tarot is saying, get to it. It's there. Now, you've got the middle card, Queen of Swords, and it's upside down. Now, the Queen of Swords is like more of a thinking process. The Queen finds ways of using communication and words to support people and to create a more understanding. And there's a breakdown here. So this upside down card may represent a halt in, wait, how do I express things to this person? Or this is the actual doubt about whether the person's going to contact you. This is the tarot going, this is a problem of getting caught up in the thought process, circular process of is this person going to call me? Are they going to contact me or not? And that doubt keeps circulating around in your brain. That's what this card is suggesting. And that's why it's upside down, because it's like there's a holdup here in an ability to think easily about this. So the card on the left with all this confidence and assurity and security and sense of ability to communicate passion properly because of having all this sense of power of the king. And then the thought process holds it up with these constant doubts that are coming out from the upside down queen, where she's not trusting that the situation will play out with open communication. So she's worried and she's hung up, and it makes her doubtful about how to talk to someone. And then it leads to the next thing, which again is swords, which is still the thought process. But you get to the 5. And the 5 is a fascinating and very difficult to conceptualize number in tarot, because the 5 is an unsettling of prior sort of established ways of thinking. It's like, whoa, I didn't think of that before. Oh, shit. Wait a second. I've been missing the whole goddamn thing the whole time. This is new. Okay, so hold on now. Because this idea, this just throws me for a loop. So I gotta say, whoa. But what I think that this could be really interesting as it plays out. There's new ways of approaching this. Maybe I don't have to worry so much about whether or not this person's going to contact me. Maybe what these cards are suggesting is, hey man, I'm this confident king, able to express my creative passions and desires with perfection. I'm able to express them so that they're like fucking poetry. And I'm just held up by some stupid thought doubts that keep going around and conflicting in my brain. But really, I know what I need to do over here with the 5 of Swords. I know exactly how to cut through all this crap, make myself stop doubting myself, and just do what I need to do. Because usually, in these things, expressing yourself easily and honestly with confidence is the best thing. Usually. This game of, should I stay quiet and let that person make the first, that's not usually a good game in life. When has that ever been good in business? When has that ever been good in warfare? You don't just wait for the other person to tell you what to do all the time. Sometimes or make the first move. Sometimes you have to say, I'm the guy. That's what these cards are suggesting be considered. Once you start considering these things and rolling them on your tongue a little bit, you start to go, oh, well, at least there's a part of that I could use. I don't have to take what the tarot is saying verbatim, but there's a part of what it's saying that I know I can definitely, that's true. That helps. Into your ability. Well, there you go. So you put a lot of work into it. So the king card on the left here is super important because that really represents something that I think most people have tons of trouble with. And that is that whole idea of, the phrase, I guess, has to be self-confidence. Knowing that, I've got this. I have the experience to do this just the right way. There's 1,000 self-help books out there in every Barnes & Noble bookstore you can go into that talk about self-confidence and blah, 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 blah. Absolutely. It's a tough thing to get. That it comes up in this reading. It's right there. And the tarot is actually really good at expressing these things because there's a way it expresses these things with the pictures somehow that's like, it doesn't have to be a specific way the picture's drawn. In fact, most tarot decks that work for me are drawn a little bit more crudely instead of by a perfectionist artist. Tarot decks need to have an element of crudeness to them because they have to suggest. They can't try to be too literal. But this concept of this confidence in the king is super important in this reading. The being held up by thought processes in the middle, that's so common. We all go through that every single 24-hour day about one thing or another. And breaking through it sometimes is as simple as just stopping yourself in the lobby of the office building and going, hang on a second. Stop, take a deep breath, count to 3 before I go in the meeting. Think about nothing. Okay, now think about a really good turkey sandwich on rye with pepper right before I walk in the meeting, and I will have the perfect expression on my face, and I'll be able to talk like I am the prince of all business. And that's what you do. That's all that is. And then the 5 on the right with this, like, oh my God, I have a new idea. Or it could be that it's not necessarily a new idea that you've had, but it could be something someone said that upset you and was like, oh man, what? What the hell were they talking about? I should do what? Or I should think about what? And then you're like, oh, wait a second. That's been bugging me. That thing they said or that idea has been bugging me for a week. It's really been stuck in my craw and pissing me off. But actually, there's more to it than I was thinking. That's what that card is about. That's what the 5 is. And it's saying, pay attention to that idea that kind of annoyed you and upset you, because that could be where it's all at. That idea of, is he going to contact me or she going to contact me? Maybe, and then somebody might have said, well, why don't you call the fucking, pick up the phone? And that pissed you off. But that actually, that your best friend might have said, like being funny, and it pissed you off and you walked out. Well, that could be it. That's what the 5 is. It's like, don't forget those things. So there you have it. I hope that just like knocks a few nuts and bolts around. Yes, that's what it is. Change in perspective. Confidence. Relying on yourself and your communicative abilities instead of another person's. Instead of thinking of things as a roll of the dice based on somebody else's actions. There's no dice involved. It's just you. All-Seeing Mars. Yeah, absolutely. You don't even need to. This is going to be the last reading, All-Seeing Mars. Let me close the queue so nobody. But All-Seeing Mars, you can go ahead and you ask your question, and our wonderful tarot cowboy will be sitting right where he is, listening to us go on and on. All-Seeing Mars is a cool username. That's really a good one. Okay, good. I guess I could keep the queue open. I'll open the queue, but I'm going after I finish your reading, I'm gonna have to go and get another can of sparkling water. I'm like, I have a light over here that changes its color like constantly, and so I can see it keeps making my face like green. Now it's in the blue. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I actually like crystal balls. Okay. You'd like some direction in life, a current path that's breaking into a lot of different pathways. You have 7 of Cups in your head. Okay. The 7 of Cups. 7 is another very, very tricky number in tarot. It has a lot to do with effort and putting things into action and trying to reach a higher plane, a higher understanding. You can take that on a more mundane level or a spiritual level or intellectual level, but it's a pushing to try and get a higher point of view on things. That's what the 7 is. Sometimes it goes up toward the spiritual, but you don't have to, it depends on the situation. But it's sort of an effort to try to get past where you've been and get a more of a perspective a little higher up and look at things from a more sort of a calm and a feeling of understanding of trying to get yourself into a better place, but also to use this and put it into action in a beneficial way. That's what the 7 typically kind of goes after. So you have a lot of choices that you're sort of juggling and considering here. A lot of the paths are about the spiritual, okay, and unseen energy work. And here we are with the 7 in your head. And that 7 is really right up the alley of what you're saying. So you're leaning in the 7 toward getting a higher, more spiritual sort of sense awareness of things, being able to apply a spiritual quality to choosing your paths. Now, let's pull up cards here. Let's get the... All right. The cards we're seeing here are numbered. These are relatively short-term deals. Nothing here is set in stone. Nothing here is like too overwhelmingly deep-seated. We're looking at cups. So we've got, in the first broadest sense, we've got heart emotion cups. We've got creative, fiery passion energy of wands. And then we've got a very sort of solidified, earthy coins. And a 9. Okay, so 9 of cups, feeling. You're trying to choose paths, direction. And the cups are, where is my heart? It's bringing you, it's saying, okay, it's sort of taking you from the spiritual and saying that's very closely related to the heart. The heart and the spiritual, they go hand in hand, entwined like vines. And the 9 is that point in any process, in any development. And the development here, or the process, could be the process of choosing a path. The path could be your work in a spiritual realm, your work involving anything that involves spiritual, new age, anything like energy work, whatever it is. But your love for the way you do that work, how you do it, what your heart really, your life force, how you spend your life force and your time, even if it's just to make money, is really important. And because 60 years from now, how you spend all that time, and you look back and you're like, did I give a damn that whole time about what I was doing or not? That's what this card is about. And it's about that moment in this development of making a choice or choosing a path where you're like, I can't make the damn choice. That's what the 9 is. It comes right after the 8, obviously, which is a balance sort of perfection card. And then it's right before the 10 where everything, it's been done. You did it. It's finished. You're exhausted. You're also ecstatic. You're also celebrating. But right after the celebration, you're just going to go bam and fall flat on your face and sleep for 3 weeks. But the 9 is that point at the end, right toward the end of a process or a project where you're like, I can't do it. I cannot finish this. God, I can't get this. It's actually all crap. Everything I know is junk. It's all bullshit. Bullshit. Nobody's going to take me seriously. How can I even make a choice? I have no business even making this damn choice. That's what the 9 is. The 9 is that feeling, which is very common toward the end of a process when you have to actually cut the thing, and you have to, what they do, cut fish or cut bait. You have to actually say, okay, I did it, made the choice. It's done. I'm going to go out for a beer now. The 9 is right before that. It's like 5 days before where you're like, I cannot do this. I'm stupid. My skills suck. I can't do energy work. I'm not spiritual. What business do I have doing this? Oh my God. I've made a horrible mistake. I can't get this. There's no way. I'm just going to go off and I'm going to watch TV for 7 years. That's the 9. And the 9 is saying, we get it. This is totally common. Everybody goes through this, especially creative people, especially people that are seeking and trying to get to that higher 7 that you have in your mind. It's a hard process, that 7. In fact, the tarot deck I've made, that 7, the imagery I use, is very much about getting up out of something that's trying to hold you down. That 7. So this 9 is saying it's hard to get there, but you're almost there. Now, look at the next card. That's wands, that's fire, that's creative, that's passion. That's what you want. That's what you do. That's your whole energy drive and furnace blast fired by plutonium fuel to do what you love to do. And the 3 is the active number. The 3 is the exploding out of action. It's the taking of action, almost to the point where it's like, okay, just do it, and whoa, whatever will come, will come. Oh, shit. Here we go. It's like the bungee jump. That's what 3 is. And it's in the wands. That's the fire sign, the burning torch, the creative burst of springtime energy, where all the trees are leafing and everything is going, and you're having bonfires and dancing around the maypole and that stuff. That's what the 3 is, and the wands. So you've got this real fear of like, oh my God, I can't do this. I cannot figure out what my heart wants. I can't figure out what I really love to do. I don't know quite which path to take, and I have no business even trying to take a path, but I have this enormous drive to create something. And man, maybe if I just say, go, take door 3, kick it open and go through, my instincts are going to be good. And it's going to explode into something super creative. And then the thing is on the right with the coins saying, okay, it's upside down. That 4 of coins, 4 is of solid stability, earth bound, like 4 chunks of stone in the ground to build the foundation for your temple. Okay, the solid, but it's also very defensive. It can be very stagnant, and that's why it's upside down here, because here it's not representing security. It's representing a stagnation. And what I believe is happening here, since you're talking about a choice to make to go down a road, use the word path, that the 3 of Wands is a burst of energy to send you down a path. And that 4 is saying, break through the stagnated, dull, heavy wall that surrounds you. The thing that you're normally used to, the way you're normally make yourself feel safe and secure, is perhaps something that needs to be broken through. And the 3 in the middle is the exact thing to do it with. You take that stick, that burning, fiery stick, all that energy, creative energy, and you apply it and you batter down that whatever it is that's sort of that you've relied on in the past. Okay, that 4 that has now become too much staying at home and being careful and safe. Too much. It's time to walk out the door and leave. Don't be so nervous about all that. I have to be careful. Because these cards are saying, you're at the moment now where you can make the choice. It's hard. You don't think you can. That's what the 9 is saying. You don't think you even know what your heart really wants to do, but you have all this creative energy, just using it, doing what comes naturally to you, what you make best. This card is saying that is your action. Just what you do well. Follow it and break down this doubtful sense of I have to be super careful about everything I do. And that will be, you will just find yourself on the path. It's sort of like what the Nike shoe company said in their commercials. You just do it. That's what this thing is saying. That's what it's saying. If you just do the thing you do best, that gets your juices flowing, like where time passes most quickly in the day, and you're doing, that is the action you want to be doing. Whether it's putting crystals on somebody's shoulders or chest, or whether it's doing meditation, whatever it is, the one that like you feel like, oh my, 4 hours just went by. It felt like 3 minutes. Oh my God, I have to go home. That's the one this 3 card is saying do. All you have, and if you do it, you'll find yourself bursting through the door and going out, and the path will just, you'll be on it. You'll just see it. That's what it's asking you to at least ponder. So, all-seeing Mars, it's one of those things where, choosing path. I know this reading is good for me too. I have had in life the same, like, oh God, should I be doing that at all? Or should I be doing something else? Which, I don't know. And should I just take the one that, like, pays the rent best? Is that, and then you keep going around and around like that. But really, the one for me that I would take is what makes me enthusiastic during the day. When I'm doing the thing itself and I jump up to go get a cup of coffee, I'm still thinking about getting back with the cup of coffee to do some more. That's the one. That's what that 3 is. The Page of Wands, that's a good point, all-seeing Mars. Yep, the Page of Wands is very hungry, wants to be good at everything, wants to learn, which are all good things. But those are also things, of youth. And youth, it doesn't have to necessarily mean someone who's like very young. It can be youth of mind or youth of experience in a certain field. A person who's 40 could have very little experience flying a helicopter, and they go and they take lessons. Well, they're the page for flying helicopters at that point. And, so the page is a very healthy learning symbol. But it also has to accept that there are doubts and confusion. And you don't know what to do. You don't know if you can actually do it or not. Yeah. And the page runs into a lot of nines because the page doesn't know if they can learn how to fly the helicopter. They don't know if they can. They have serious doubts about passing the final test. That's what that 9 is. Oh, kick down the door. Yeah. Yeah, the 4, I like the 4 cards because I find the 4 cards always have that, they're so based in that sense of even, solid secureness. And they can easily be turned from positive security and confidence into sort of suffocating kind of what you get so used to something that you like, it kills your motivation and your creativity. You have to burst out of it. Sometimes you really do have to kick down the door. Yeah. Yep. All right. All-seeing Mars. I said that wow. I've been talking for 2 hours and 24 minutes. Really? Twitch should not put up with me. They should just turn it off. All right. So what's tomorrow? Wednesday, right? I will do this again tomorrow because I think that, getting it going is kind of fun. 4 of Coins as the entrepreneur card. I do feel stuck in my business as well as my path. Yeah. The 4 it's a dangerous thing. Security in the coins, pentacles, is great. Everybody wants to be secure. Who doesn't want to be secure financially or in business? Or with their physical self? Of course, we all want that. That's like fundamental to human survival. It's when it keeps you from doing what really engages your life force. And not everybody can do what really engages their life force. They just can't for one reason or another. Because of work or what, we don't all get that opportunity. Life isn't fair, right? That's what they say. But we're talking about tarot here, and tarot doesn't care what's fair. It's going to talk about ideals. And it's going to say, you know what? If you can seek what fully engages your life force and makes time seem like a pleasure to you, then you have to do it. That's what the tarot says. The tarot doesn't care that that's not necessarily realistic. It's like, so what, man? Try it anyway. All right. I'm going to end the stream now. That was very good. Thank you for participating. I'm going to do this again tomorrow at about the same time, tomorrow evening, because I think that doing these things on stream is really fun. And so, yeah, I will come back and do it. All-Seeing Mars, you're very welcome. Absolutely. And thank you for asking a question. And yeah, total pleasure. So, yeah, I really, really enjoy this. So I will see you anytime you want to come back. And oh yeah, okay. So the RP, right? See, the RP. I'll explain it quickly. Role play. Okay. So there's a giant open world Western game, and it's called Red Dead Redemption. And you can create your own servers, private servers. You use a service, hosting service. But if you're a programmer, and I can code, so I code these scripts that run all sorts of, like when you do this and you open up the tarot thing, there's all kinds of stuff here. You can open up a newspaper and read the newspaper, and if you're a journalist in the game, you can be a journalist. You can write this newspaper and publish it, but that's all coded and scripted on my end. Okay, all this stuff, including the tarot app, which is JavaScript, and it pulls 3 random cards out of the 78 card deck and shows them. But anyway, the server, so that you can run around this entire open world. So if I leave here, if I walk away from where I am and I approach the door, C to leave. Now I'm outside, there's my horse, and I'm in the city of Saint Denis. And there's the place I just came from, the palmistry shop. So I can go in and out to do these tarot readings. I can get up on my horse, but this vast open world is used on these private servers like this one that I own. And you can see the map here. Here I am in Saint Denis. That's me right there in front of the shop. And this vast place with these towns and roads and railroads. But it's used by people, and they come in and they play their character, like this character here, and they engage with each other, and they play the character fully. So, you act the role of your character, and so all these stories develop, and they play out over days and weeks, and communities develop, and jobs, and everybody's all going in, coming onto the server whenever they want, and they engage in ongoing storylines with each other. That's what the role play thing is. And so I was just like, oh, you know what? I do these tarot readings, and I might as well just use this little environment I created in the role-playing server to just be in to do tarot readings, because it's just, I don't know, it just kind of looks appropriate. So, yes, this is PC. Most role-playing servers require PC, absolutely, because you have to run a software thing called RedM, and RedM, I believe, only runs on PC. Yeah. So that's the thing. You can't play it on like Xbox or PlayStation. But yeah, if you're interested in role play at all, I recommend it. It's and there are role play servers around that you can join that have a lot of people. The only problem is sometimes they get full. Like most servers can host at once at the same time, maybe like 150 people. And so if more people want to get on the server on a day, the queue lines up, and you have to wait sometimes hours to get in. So it's tricky. You have to find a server that's usually I would say got around 50 people on it in order to always be able to get in quickly. Yeah. You borrow your friends or whatever. Absolutely. If you have any instinct for role play, you will just have the most fun. You'll see. It's just fun. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna end the stream here, and I will see everyone I'm going to come back tomorrow, man. I'm going to do it tomorrow, and that's that. All right. Good night.